Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. I am here to review Queenpins. This is a movie I just saw because it's on streaming now. It's on Paramount Plus, I believe. And it's a new comedy movie. I wasn't really interested to see it in theaters because I saw the trailer on this other guy's channel. They reacted to it, and the trailer just looked like a feminazi piece of garbage. And it looked like it had some funny stuff in it, but you know, every movie practically has something that you can like in it. Like you can like this little tiny thing and then still the rest of the movie be garbage. That's what I thought that would be with this movie, and so I just didn't bother. There's there's so many things that I have to review and watch, and so if I watch something that I don't like, it and might not get any views when I review it kind of feels like a huge waste of time to me. But I wanted to watch this movie because I was in the mood for it, and I thought that it might be funny secretly, like just it might surprise me. And what do you know? I think it's one of the best movies that I've seen this year. It was a really funny movie. It was a really fun and well written movie. And even if you take out the writing, it was nicely shot. The acting was good from everyone. No one gave a bad performance. In fact, like this whole year, there hasn't really been, excuse me, there hasn't really been any bad acting except for in like a handful of movies. Like for the most part this year, the issue has always been the script. Well, with this movie, the script was actually 75 to 80% good. So there was only like a 20% range of crap in it. Other than that, it was good. It's all about these women who they want to get into business. They want to self start. They want to, do something themselves instead of, doing some bullshit dead end job. And so they both come up. Well, the blonde comes up with. I can't remember the blonde's name at all now. Because I mean, she gets different identities, and so I can't even remember it. I can't remember any names except for JoJo, the other woman, because like they emphasize it over and over again. So the blonde woman, she comes up with this idea that when you complain to a company, you get a free coupon. And so why don't you just get a bunch of free coupons and then sell them to people for like half the price that they'd be worth? And, and it's actually a pretty funny like loophole. But then what they do is they're getting so many orders that they go to Mexico and they get someone who works at a coupon printing company to steal like boxes of coupons for them to smuggle over the border and then sell them from there. And then that's not enough. They have to get this one woman who I can't remember, God, what was her name? Tammy, Timara, Tina. What was that girl's name? They got this one girl, and to help with like cybersecurity and to help with like protecting them from getting caught. And she's basically like a genius, like a tech genius, and she stole the identity of JoJo when she was like a little kid, and so now JoJo can like never have a credit card because her credit is terrible, and so that's just terrible. And on the other side of things, you have these two guys. You have one guy who's like a loss prevention officer, I think I remember what he was, and he's played by Richard Jewell. And now here's the thing. Richard Jewell was pretty good. He only had a couple of things about him they showed in the beginning of that movie where he was a jackass. But then in this movie, just imagine taking that little tiny stuff that he did in Richard Jewell. Just imagine taking that stuff and just him doing that the entire movie. That's this character. He is Richard Jewell times 1,000. He is like a complete piece of shit. He's like a complete miserable, like just ugh. He really wants like this big case because he wants like a pat on the back from his stupid bosses, or he wants like a promotion, and he is just doing anything he can. And they had this really good scene where this old woman accidentally uses a fraudulent coupon, and then they want to give her the discount anyway to be nice, and he's like, no. And like, he is just a complete piece of shit. And then you got Vince Vaughn, and I really like how Vince Vaughn has been doing these like true story movies lately. Like he did that, what was that, Fighting with the Family or whatever that was. And he's really good. And so it's nice to see him in these true stories. And I'd love to see him do like a serial killer movie or something. That would be pretty interesting. He plays a person, uh, from the post office, like a post office guy. Sorry, I just cannot remember any of this shit because I'm mostly just focusing on like the plot and just the movie in general. I watched it last night, and all this stuff just is so forgettable to me that it just, I have to watch like two other movies today anyway. But anyways, the first half of the movie is good because you get to see these two women's backstories and like why they want to start this business, and you're really rooting for them the first half. Well, then in the second half, you're rooting for the guys, and you're rooting for them to take these bitches down because they end up getting a little bit too full of themselves, and they're really dumb, and they just make all these mistakes. That I could list them, but it'd be spoilers, and I want you guys to watch the movie. But they make all these mistakes. They do such a poor job. They're making videos and posting them on YouTube about coupons. Hey, look, we're selling coupons. We're selling these illegal things, and I'm going to talk all about it on YouTube. And it's like, God, that's really bad. And then they had the cliche thing where, they'll show a video and they'll show a time lapse of like getting to like 51,000 views. It does not happen like that. It really, it literally can't happen like that. Like when you watch a video, the views will just pause and you have to refresh it to see how many views that you got. I should know. I mean, I have a fucking channel. And so that was a little queer. There were little queer things here and there in the movie that kind of brought it down. But all the main performances were good. The tech girl, she was actually like one of the highlights of the movie because she did such a good job for the little amount of screen time she had. And one of the flaws is that you don't really find out what happens with her and like what she thinks about. Oh wait, I guess you kind of do in a way, indirectly. I'll talk about that in spoilers. Another thing is that this movie is sort of like ambiguous towards what side it's on. It doesn't really say that it's on the side of the women, which is good because, as I said, I thought this would be like a feminazi movie that would be like really obnoxious and like, oh, look, strong women, strong women. But it was not. It was a really funny movie. It was enjoyable. But then on the other side, they don't really say if they're on the men's side or not, on the post office's side, because they show good things about them too, and they show like why they do what they do. So it's kind of like ambiguous. And that kind of works against the movie a little bit at the end, because at the end it's like really confusing what message I'm supposed to take from this movie, other than, I guess just like check coupons to see if they're fraudulent or not. Like, that's the only thing I can think of to, like, uh, you know, take from this movie. Because the stuff that happens at the end, well, I'll talk about that in spoilers. Now let's get to the bad stuff in the movie. There is 20% bad stuff, like I said. First off, there's a lot of agendas in this movie, a lot of little throwaway agendas. It's sort of like Saturday Night Live style agenda writing, where they'll have this crazy situation and then they'll say, "See, this is why we say that slogan," and oh that, and so, they have these gun control agenda scenes where they buy these guns and they're like, "That really should not have been that easy." And they have this like car full of shotguns, and it's like, ha 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 ha, it really shouldn't have been that easy, ha ha ha. And it's like, oh, this is cringeworthy. And then they have this really, I mean, I'll still say that the stuff is a little funny, but it, in the back of my head, it's just like, it's just ugh. It's like, this is not natural. It is not good writing. It is just, people have spoken about this too. Other people noticed this because it was right in your face, and it was really not smartly written, and it was really like the downfall of the movie, as well as one other thing, which I'll talk about. And then they had this scene in a coffee shop where these two guys, they bring in machine guns to the coffee shop, and it's like, look, we're exercising our right to bear arms while getting coffee, and it was a really funny line. Like, it was funny, but it was just, it was another agenda, and it was like, God, this movie's good. It doesn't need agendas. It's already good. You don't need to insert these political agendas into everything. It really brought down the quality of the movie. And for some people, more than others. And then the worst scene, which I'll talk about in spoilers. Wow. There was a really bad scene, and it is probably one of the most evil things I've seen happen all year on film. And that's saying something when I've seen, movies about witches, movies about, anything. And, we'll talk about that in spoilers. So, this movie's pretty good. It's sort of like a throwaway, funny comedy. I would say that it's tough to say whether I will watch it again, because I really don't want to at the moment, but I still liked it. I still thought that it was worth the watch, and I don't say that at all. Like, whenever I see a movie that I'm on the fence about, I say, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. But with this one, I would suggest watch it, because it's really funny and it's really entertaining, and it has some really great performances from these actors. So my rating is, it's tough. My rating is tough. On one hand, it's a really good movie, but on the other hand, it's something that's like a throwaway thing. So that's why I'm on the fence about this rating. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this movie. Have you ever had custard? This movie is a dish of chocolate custard. And now the reason why is because chocolate custard, we have a custard place near here. We do not have any. Okay, we have like one or two ice cream places, but the main place that we go to is this custard stand, and they have custards of all kind. And if you just get a scoop of custard in a dish, it can be good. It's a good dish. I would recommend trying it. and because it's good. They make sundaes, they make anything you want. But you could just still get like a scoop of custard. It'll be good. Well, this movie is a scoop of chocolate custard, and the thing is though is that you could just easily throw that custard away. You could take one bite of it and say, "Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I like that." But then you could just throw it away because you don't want the calories, or you just don't want to eat any more of it. So that's what I rate this movie. It's good, but it's kind of like a throwaway type of good. I will say too that I thought that I was gonna say that it was a good true story movie, but then I read that like the true story was a lot different than this, and I decided never mind. So I thought that that was another thing that brought it down, was that I thought originally this was like a another true story type of movie where they're telling things pretty accurately, and I thought, wow, this is actually pretty good. Uh, so now let's get on to spoilers. The ending is ambiguous because the girls basically get a glorified slap on the wrist punishment, and the guys, they end on this really touching note where they read a letter, and they read a letter earlier because they're trying to emphasize how important the post office is, and they read the second letter, and it's a really good scene. But it's like, but then what happens is that, like, the fat guy Richard Jewell, he applies to be a part of the post office, so I guess that's the answer to that. And then he matches with this random woman on Tinder, and that was extremely unrealistic. I'm sorry, but never gonna happen. That never. So I thought that that was really like a bad scene, because that was almost like a Hallmark movie type of scene, and it never would happen ever. Sorry, unless he put his credentials on there as being Richard Jewell, and being like in all those other movies. Sorry, but it would never happen ever. They'll take one look at him and they'll swipe left and they'll say bye bye, fatty. Sorry. So I thought that that was kind of queer. It was just kind of like a weird, like that was the last thing that we saw of the guys. Like that's the last thing. Like really, that's what was important this movie. And the picture on the profile that liked him too, it looked like a fake picture. It looked like a really like a photoshopped picture. So she's probably a scammer. And in fact, you could make a sequel to this movie about this about Richard Jewell, like discovering like dating scammers and like tracking them down. Honestly, you could actually do a movie about that, and that would be pretty good too. And then with the women, it's even weirder because the black woman, JoJo, goes to a different country where they don't have any extradition to America, and she literally just restarts the coupon company in a different country. And so it just shows she never learned her lesson. So, like, whose side I guess, really, we're on the side of the guys because at least they learned a lesson. They both of them learned something and they grew. Both of these women did not learn anything. They did not grow. They just got worse and worse and worse, and they stayed the same at the end. And then the white woman, Kristen Bell, she's like in prison, like living it up and doing race walking while she's pregnant. And now let's talk about, oh yeah, and she gets a divorce too. So I guess strong woman. But let's talk about that evil scene. Okay, this bitch Kristen Bell, the character, I can't remember the character's name. I think it was like Melissa or Callista or something. I can't remember. She gets artificially pregnant with another man's sperm, and she never even tells her husband about it. and she said, "It's my body, my choice," and it's like, ugh! Like that was the most evil, disgusting scene I've seen the entire year. It was so gross to watch. It was like just like sitting there like, ugh. Never mind about being on these guys' side. Fuck them. I'm on the side of Richard Jewell and Vince Vaughn, aka Norman Bates from fucking Psycho 1998. Yeah, I still remember that. You can't ever outlive that. That was okay. You know, Psycho was more of an evil act than this movie. You know, that terrible remake was way worse than this. What she did in this scene, but there is a little debate there because what she did was she got pregnant with another man's baby, and she did it behind her husband's back. Her husband never finds out about it, and it's like played off as almost like a good thing that she did it. I saw it as the most evil thing that I've seen on cinema this entire year, almost. Like, I thought, wow, this bitch is really unlikable now. I really don't like her. I don't like her, and I don't like this business that she's doing. You know, she's risking the lives of these innocent people in Mexico who are just like they want to have money for their baby too that they actually made together as husband and wife. Just what a complete disgusting person. And so I thought that that was kind of weird that her ending was like a happy ending because she was such an evil person, and I really wanted to see her get like life in prison and just sit there and rot in prison like she deserves to, because that was really evil what she did. But overall, I really like this movie. I would still recommend it to people, uh, regardless of that. And you know what else? What they did with Richard Jewell too? It's another feminazi thing. You know, he is overweight, and so of course they give him a shit joke. They give him a joke where he has to take a shit at a certain time in the morning, which was a really funny joke at first, but then they had it where the joke became him actually shitting inside the car and you know, quote unquote taking one for the team. And I just thought, wow, you guys would never do this to any of the female characters. You know, you would only do this with the fat male character. And I just thought that that was super sickening and super kind of like indicative of what kind of a movie this is. It is really kind of a, it's like 40% feminazi, 60% regular movie. And something else is near the end. They sort of talk about how Richard Jewell has never had sex with a woman. And so it's like, oh, of course, they would only make that type of joke with his character. And it's like just really sickening. Just really like, ugh. But, you know, he was a miserable piece of shit. I mean, the way that he acted, he was on the plane. He did something on a plane too that was even worse. You know, he really was a jackass, but still, to just make these like throwaway jokes because it's like, okay, he's the fat character. We can make these jokes about the fat character. It's like, this isn't funny. Like, it's not funny that his character is lonely and that he struggles with that. You know, it's not funny at all. You know, the joke itself wasn't funny, I should say. So, anyways, I still like this movie, as I said. I recommend it. It'll probably be in my top 10. I don't know if it'll be in my top 5, but it was really good. I liked it. So please like this video if you liked it or dislike it, you know, whatever you want to do, and then comment, tell me what you thought about Queenpins. And you know, I'm sure there's going to be some whack job weirdo who comes in here and says she had the right to do whatever she wanted because it's her body. And it's like, you know, fuck off. Seriously. Like, no matter if she had the right or not, she still should have told her husband had a right to know. And just it was, that was evil. That was some evil shit. And then please subscribe to our channel, because what's gonna happen when she actually has the baby? Like, she never even thinks about that. Like, if they were still together, what's gonna happen when she's pregnant and she has a big belly, and he's just like, oh, how did that happen, honey? Just complete bullshit. Please subscribe to our channel, though, for more movie reviews in the future. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.